You're listening to Polymatic.media, episode 62 for November 2019. Welcome to the Polymaticast. Hey, John, how's it going?
Pretty good. I see that taking the date out of it makes
things
sense.
Easier.
Makes it easier for you.
It does. It does once a month for realsies.
For realsies.
At least this month.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Maybe it won't be released.
Well, we haven't released an episode in 3 months, I think.
Yeah, I think it's getting too busy for either of us.
It's been
squeezing
super
this
busy.
in. You know, even with like OG, I always get to halfway into the month and I realize, oh crap, I haven't recorded after the show. And then it's extra oh crap for November because, well, real soon it's going to be Turkey Day and no one's going to be around. And so, I don't know. I got to start, I got to work my magic fast on that or it will never get done. And it's the same thing with like Polymatic, you know. It's just, there's always other things competing for this time slot. So, yeah. So, hi, man. How's it going? How's your month been?
It's months.
Yeah, months. Well, we still talk to each other.
Yeah.
We just don't talk to each other on mic.
Yeah, it's been an interesting couple of months. I've been very busy releasing some code that's been working on for a while, and we're working towards the end of the year. So I think there's like 4 or 5 real weeks left, and then it's nobody's working for a couple of weeks.
Right.
Period. Yeah.
I'm like Golem with my precious with my few hours. Work has got it set up in such a way where I can't really see what my actual remaining time is. And I made the mistake top of the year of like not going and building like an Excel spreadsheet and tracking it myself. And I have all my time available to me based on like, you know, what my role is in my, you know, in the hierarchy. But it only shows you what your earning rate of your hours for your vacation is based on, and it's so irritating. So I can't like plan out December or plan out November easily without, you know, getting close to the hour. It's just, I don't know. I know that a lot of payroll systems do this. I've seen this in the past before, but work used to not do that. And now that they flipped the switch to do that, I feel like it's intentional.
Confuse people so they lose days.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so I want to be able to plan out my December, and I don't know what my vacation time stuff's going to be. I have no idea. No clue. And so I decided somewhere in December, I'm just taking a day off.
Yeah.
I got that many hours. I know I have like doctor and dentist stuff, and those will be half days. But no, I'm just going to take a day off just because.
I'm going to take off every Friday till the end of the year, basically.
Yeah,
so I don't have 4-day weeks.
I wish I had something like that. I just don't have that much. I will take days off just for doctor appointment things because they make you run around and go to like these off-site lab places to, in my case, draw blood because I'm diabetic. And so, you know, you could be waiting around all day for that before you know, and then you go see the doctor and then they look at the numbers and then we need you to do some more lab work. And so I never take time off. So I take a day off. And that's how I burn up most of my vacation until
Are
I
you
get
at
to
least
Otakon.
bringing your Nintendo Switch while you wait?
No, not at all. And most of the time, it gives me the opportunity to listen to podcasts, you know.
Well, you can listen to podcasts while you play games, of course.
I guess you could. In some cases, like Minecraft, sometimes those noises are useful.
We're not supposed to talk about Minecraft. You know this.
I know. So we're not talking about it.
A lot.
A lot. Yeah.
Last time I was talking about the Huion Canvas Pro 22.
Yeah.
I have sold it like a couple of days after that because I was not happy with what I was doing. So I switched back to my trusty old Cintiq, and now I'm putting away more money so I can buy a better bigger, shinier Cintiq. We have a saying here: "Goedkoop is duurkoop." Buying it cheap, you basically get what you paid for. So
Right.
if it's goedkoop is the same way saying it's cheap, although it sounds like goed is good and koop is buy, so it's a good buy.
Right.
But it's not.
Right.
But it's you pay for it eventually by having to buy another thing.
Right.
Right. So I lost about $20 on it. So I was able to sell for like $400. So yeah. And the guy was really happy with it. So okay.
The cynic in me, especially when I was younger, would there was something about brand and prestige in that, but there's also some truth to that. The best analogy is in terms of cars. Mercedes are very expensive, but there's actually really good engineering in those vehicles aside from them being very expensive and being very luxury.
Well, the thing is, Huion could have made a better product for the price that they're selling it. So if you can buy a Cintiq for about $50 more than the new price of a Huion. So, right, I could have waited a little bit and bought that one, but I don't want to buy that one, right? Because it doesn't have the buttons, doesn't have the things that I want on it,
right?
Because Cintiqs are more expensive. That's correct, but they're also not a crappy design. If you look at, I had an artist friend of mine who was like, he was frustrated. He had to buy a new pen because he dropped the first one, and it takes like, if you breathe on it wrong, the pen stops working. So he bought the second one, and then during a stream last week, I was like, okay, why didn't you just open it up and see get the bad one, the first one you dropped. Open it up, move it around a little bit, see if you can get it to work. And just moving a little part, turned it back on, and now it works perfectly.
Yeah.
Right? The quality assurance on these things is shit.
Yeah.
It is trash.
So
sometimes that's a no recommendo from me.
Yeah. My whole point was sometimes there is a bunch of fluff in brands. And there is truth to that. The cynic that screams at me from the past is still accurate sometimes. But there is something to be said about, as you were saying, you get what you pay for. And my father and my stepbrother and relatives and family are more likely to buy something cheap because I don't want to spend that money. And then they do nothing but just constantly complain about something that they bought because they chose cheap instead of choosing correct. And when they get mad at me and they go, yeah, but I told you this is what my recommendation was and you ignored it.
Yeah, don't tell anybody I told you so about that kind of stuff because that really...
No, I don't say the words. I just say, okay, well, you ignored my recommendation.
Well, that's basically saying I told you so.
Well, it's not using those words because that's what irritates them the most. Well, this is when I'm at a birthday thing or I'm at a family event and all of a sudden everyone is like the raiders all staring at me. All of a sudden are ready to kill me for something. I go, yeah, okay, well, what did I recommend? Well, you recommended this. What'd you get? Well, the salesman told you. I said, right, great, wonderful. What did I recommend? And what kind of problems are you having? And they go into their tirade. And I go, wonderful. You ignored my recommendation. I don't know what to tell you. You can't put me on the hook for something that you didn't do.
Well, maybe those people, they're mostly mad at themselves for,
I know.
Knowing that somebody gave you good advice and then totally ignore it, right?
Yeah. And so that's the burden of, it's sort of the literally occupational hazard.
Yeah.
So at work,
I bought some cool new toys.
Oh, I saw the light you sent me a video on.
At Adafruit, they have these Arduinos, which are called feather. They're little boards. They're like a specific form factor. and they have feather wings which go on top of it. Like they build like a sort of Lego style thing, so you can stack them.
Okay.
And I got a couple of. They're part of my gifting for this year for people. And the gifting is what I call what everybody calls. I think.
It's what I call it. It's
Okay.
so many this otaku's life where I call it the gifting is coming. It might be a thing. I might be doing that. Might be the topic I do next week. I don't know.
So
It's just me venting that I hate this process. Yeah, I see the light. Yeah, you're blinding me with your little. I don't know. Send me a link on that because I might want to check that out. That might be a good gift for somebody.
They're like $20 for the main board.
Yeah.
And then I got a couple lipo batteries, and I got the feather wing on top of it. It's also another like $15. But these are for this set is for me. This is my little gift to myself.
Right.
And I bought some Circuit Playgrounds, which is like the older version of it.
Mm-hmm.
I had some trouble trying these out because I wanted to make sure that they worked. And the thing is, these do not seem to be able to be programmed off my Mac. I think it's because of the new OS. So I had to walk to my PC and turn that thing on and plug it in. And then it worked. Suddenly
how dare
worked.
you? How dare you turn on a PC?
Oh, I have several PCs.
I know, I was joking.
It's like I'm the most agnostic.
I know. I am too. I had Apple stuff for a very long time it's definitely when it wasn't cool. And they came into their own, but at that point on my own dime, it was just made more sense for me to do Windows and PC things because that's where, especially the area of editing. So I get lots of people who are like, but editing and video editing, you got to have a Mac. And I'm like, no,
you don't.
You're full of crap. I said, you want to process that red footage? You don't use a Mac. I'll tell you that.
So I used to do I had some Minecraft videos, and I used to do them and edit them in Premiere, not in Premiere, but in Final Cut.
Mm-hmm.
And then I finally switched over to my PC and started editing on the PC. I was like, oh, this is so much better. Yeah. It doesn't heat up my PC,
right?
My laptop.
You also have to have the right kind of gear and. Obviously.
Yeah, but I don't have like a super duper PC. Okay, right. Okay, at the time it was an pretty okay machine, but it still had a 960, and then I upgraded to the 1060. I don't buy I need the best, fastest video card ever.
Right. Yeah,
I don't want to spend $1,000 on a flipping video card.
Yeah,
that's insanity. I don't play these games that require ray tracing for things. I'm like, I'm good enough with Minecraft. That's fine.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. And my use case is not that. For the film editing, I'm working with ProRes stuff, and it does eat up but also my laptop's a little out of date at this point. And given the high quality of the film footage, being 10-bit, it's not so much in the case of Premiere. It really needs memory. And it really needs CPU processing. So a actual like a desktop that can handle thermals really well is how you really edit with ease. And doing on a laptop, it can be done. In my case, it makes the thermals on my laptop start to scream a little bit. I bought like a $30 one of those things that lift your PC up and has big old fans on it and ugly LED stuff. And what, surprisingly, it calms the PC down with ease. Yeah. It brings cool air into it, and it just makes the PC happy. I mean, the laptop happy. And I have an external eGPU, and that certainly is helping things make it easier. But the bandwidth that's coming through the Thunderbolt is not significant, because this isn't, to get that stuff, you got to get brand new, CPUs. Basically, new chips. And this thing is along that line where it was only like 4 PC Express lanes, 2 of which are available or accessible over that Thunderbolt. So it's not like it's working with its full capacity. But these things matter. And in the case of Premiere, it does care about graphic cards. right? Don't have a crappy one. Don't have have a discrete one if you can get it. But it really cares about that CPU processing power and the memory more than it cares about relying on the GPU. It only does that when it's like doing its like rendering, right, to file. It needs that GPU.
Yeah. Well, I'm building a new PC next year, May, I think. Then my PC is moving over to my current PC is moving over to the Art PC spot. The Art PC spot is being moved over to somebody who wants to buy that thing, and then I'm gonna buy a big ass tower with lots of space for hard drives, so I can do lots of stuff.
Definitely on my upgrade list was buying myself a ultra wide monitor.
Oh yeah, I got one of those.
Handle 4K, and then what I'll do is I'll take the two side monitors that I have and I'll do something with them. I mean, down here, my main monitors basically died from like power shortage or something from like storms or something like that, and so that's what took out other things in the past, and so I took some TV thing that in my bedroom I wasn't using, and it's not the greatest monitor, but I'm only down here a couple times a week at most. So what I'll do is I'll do a swapperoo, right? Monitor upstairs, new monitor upstairs, bring that stuff down, and then hopefully that'll go in concert with me basically building a editing workstation, video editing workstation, for more capacity than I need today or what I'll probably need in the near future. So it's on my where Alan's thousands of dollars go.
Yeah, so I bought an LG 29 WK500. They don't sell anymore, but there's a replacement for it. I had a little bit of an issue where at some point a green line started appearing in the middle of the screen. So that happened for a bit. I sent it in. They replaced. I think they replaced the panel. But I haven't had any issues since. But I really like that monitor. It's really lovely to edit on and play games on, and it's a wonderful machine, a wonderful monitor. I wouldn't recommend an LG though because of the issues I've had. But it's 29-inch, wonderful. It's wonderful for editing audio because you can you see the whole thing there.
Yeah.
Click.
And so.
Wonderful.
Most of the time what I've been doing, I do this at work too, I sort of, I have wings basically. I have monitors that are wings, and then I use a laptop. And so going forward, definitely if I, near future buying a new laptop, I will force myself into the habit of clamshelling and docking it and, using an external keyboard and the mouse and not, actually using the keyboard, from the laptop because I'm eating or I'm having dinner around it, and the thing gets dirty, and then you're like at a different lighting, and you go, oh God, I gotta clean this thing.
Imagining having a MacBook Pro with the keyboard that dies when a fleck of dust enters in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Well, maybe not the new one.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that's a wonderful thing, by the way. If I would have waited, I would have bought that one.
Oh well, sure. If you waited like 5 years, yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
I bought a new MacBook in May.
Oh right, but you didn't know it was the 16-inch was coming.
I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that. But
so
I wish I would have waited.
Yeah. Well, look. Apparently, you can spend somewhere around $8,000 if you max the thing out.
Yeah, it'd be like the lowest version of that. Yeah. Also, it's 16-inch, which is annoying as fork. I think I would like the 14-inch variant of that, or the 13-inch. I'm really
happy about the 15.6. That's fine for me. There's been opportunities for like when I was looking at laptops to do some bigger. I was like, I don't need that. I don't need a 17-inch, right? I know 15.6 is the right laptop ratio and carrying. That's perfect for me. At least the one I have today, the bezels are reasonably thin. I mean, there's still a little bit of a border, but it's it's pretty good edge ratio, considering.
Yeah, I tried out something that's related to monitors. I tried out Sidecar, which is the thing that Apple does with their new OS and the new iPad OS. You can use it as a monitor and use it to draw and stuff.
Okay.
I tried it. It is absolute garbage. It is slow. It's not really usable. You can use it as a monitor. That's fine. Trying to draw on it is just not acceptable. Well,
Right. Is
you have the really fast and it's a wired connection, right? So I plugged in a wire, right? So it's not going over Wi-Fi or anything. It's directly connected to the machine. But there's a lag in there. I don't know if it's the thing with Clip Studio or something, but I tried different things as well. I think it's just not working properly yet. Maybe I don't know. It didn't work for me. If I was gonna draw on the iPad, I was gonna just draw on the iPad and not use it as a second
right.
monitor.
Yeah.
Although I could get more use out of the iPad this way.
Well,
Uh,
but you have a Cintiq, so you know.
yeah. So, but syncing between the iPad and the Windows machine is annoying, and you having to use the cloud thing that Clip Studio does, and it's really annoying to sync things between
Right.
them.
Yeah.
So it's not really great. Anyway, so I tried that, didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We talked about Android, Arduinos. We talked about other stuff.
Uh
Did you buy any other cool stuff?
huh. Yeah. So my Jaybird X3s, which I really enjoyed. I think out of the Jaybird series, those are the ones that were the sort of the most comfortable, and they could have been because I sort of wore them in. The most comfortable, best sounding, and the thing is, they only last like for maybe 6 hours or something. But I'm not always charging them every moment. So I would charge them, and I would pull out the X4s because I did an upgrade, whatever, maybe hoping they'd be even better. And they're good. They just were never as comfortable for me, for my situation. And I still have those, but the X3s, basically because they're wired to each other, both the buds, something got loose. And I mean, basically at this point, while all the technology works, you basically just trash them. I mean, it's sad, but that's what it is. So, I was down to one, and the runs are fine.
The runs.
But they get a little uncomfortable. They don't really fall out of your ear. They're pretty good for first time, like truly wireless. But they weren't really useful if I wanted to, let's say, sync that up on the PC. There was a lag, right? And all of them had this problem. And so that'd been a couple of years. So my big problem at work is noise. People around me, noise. Whether it's just water cooler, gossip, or some combination related to business or people on conference calls. Like I really just I have absolutely zero privacy, and I just need to
Your
erase the world around me so that I can focus on things. And sometimes that's not always hiding behind blasting podcast and or music in my ears. So I went ahead and I bought the Sony noise canceling earbuds, which are supposed to be truly wireless. Whatever the WF 1000XM3, did I get that right? Something like that. So they make, because of that, I think this year they came out with these, or maybe it was the end of last year they came out with these. But they also make what everyone knows that sort of model number for is the over-ear wireless headphones. So I bought those earbuds, and they work great, except that they don't sound as good as like the Jaybirds until I sat down and I figured out how to customize the EQ to sound exactly like the way I want. Now they sound wonderful. And then the shortcoming, it's been corrected now, but they didn't really work in a like stereo mode on laptops, and occasionally there are times where I want to plug those things in and listen or watch a movie or something on my laptop. And so the little person in me was sort of yelling and screaming, but you like Jaybird, you like this brand. And so I impulsed myself to buy the Vistas, which are also really good. They don't have noise canceling. And they're even smaller than the Sonys. I mean, these things are tiny, and they sound great, and they work great with with PCs, and the phone. So it gives me a second alternative sort of pool of earbuds to kind of swap through if I need to charge one or one's getting uncomfortable or whatever.
I suspect you have like a giant box of old dead wireless headphones somewhere.
Not really. I bought the Econ E50s just out of a lark because they're inexpensive. They have no real sound dynamic, and they don't even have like an app like Jaybird or even Sony's where you can go in and adjust the EQ. So, while you see them blasted over all of these podcasters and they have the new E25, but don't buy them. They're junk. I mean, for $80, they're reasonably good. But they have absolutely no like treble or bass, no real definition. They work fantastic though with like a laptop or your phone. They work really smoothly, but they really have absolutely no definition. Now, the E50s are the cheap model. They're not, Raycon's high end model. But I mean, at that point, I might as well buy a Jaybird product.
The Sonys are Polymatic Link/RF. By the way, and the Jaybird Vista is Polymatic Link/RG.
Yeah.
For those things, by the way. I don't know what the thing we were talking about just now, the E50s? I've never heard of that before.
The Raycons? Well, every podcaster, every YouTuber is like, oh, use my code. No, Raycons.
I haven't.
Yeah.
We're possibly looking at different podcasts and videos.
Yeah, but they're not. Look, I'm sure they're better than probably your janky, no name, out of China wireless. They're definitely better than that. But truly wireless headphones don't cost $50. Sorry, people, they don't. The Raycons are on the cheap end, and they cost $80 or $90, or I don't know what these new E25s are that I'm not hearing about. Like, it won't matter. I bought better product, and I can tell you from my discerning ears that the Jaybird's a really good brand, and these particular Sonys are really good. My only kind of first complaints were I couldn't use it with my laptop. I could use it with Skype, but I couldn't use it with like stereo. And its EQ is like, ugh. Its presets and its little software app that Sony made is really crap. But once I figured out and worked my way through that stuff, and then I finally conceded to building a custom EQ, I dialed in the sound, right? But I also know when I'm looking at it, like how to do that. So the average person isn't going to get there out of the box. I wouldn't recommend them out of the box. If you go with like a Jaybird Vista, the price is better, and the sound and the app and everything is just far better for like you sort of non-nerdy people when it comes to with these kind of solutions. So
I've bought a couple of Jaybirds in the past, and I have the Jaybird Terras.
The Tahoe.
Tara.
Oh, is it? Okay.
TARAH.
Yeah. I consider buying those. Because the X4s are good, but they just were never as comfortable as my X3s, and I think that was my big problem.
I bought them a while back, and they're really good. I love them.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't use them on an Android phone because I've had so many problems with that thing.
Oh, I've never had any problems with these things at all.
No.
The only problem
it works great on iPhone. It doesn't work at all on well, it does work on Android. It's just there's so many sound things that doesn't work right It's just
My experiences for anyone who might be making that comparison and taking my advice, it's really my universe are PCs and Android. There's no Apple products involved in my life. So I can't say that the Jaybirds are good or bad with iPhones or the Sonys. Though I hear that they're both should be fine, but
yeah.
you're saying that you have a problem with your Androids, which is weird because I've never had that problem.
Yeah.
So, but anyhow, so yeah, I needed to kind of solve that problem, and now I've solved it at cost. But I'm very happy about it, and I have alternatives. The only thing I will say with any of these probably is also probably true with the AirPods. Is if you're trying to like eat your salad and you're chewing away with these things, little nubule things in your ears, yeah, they get really uncomfortable. They'll loosen up. So, you know, well, they stay in my ear. They get uncomfortable. So I just my recommendation is they're not meant for you to be, you know, eating your popcorn and chewing away real hard. Or
Yeah.
maybe that just works for the way the physical nature of the way my ears and my body works.
I
With
love the
regards to
over
that.
ear headphones I bought from what's the name of the brand? Sennheiser.
Oh, okay.
Love them.
Yeah, I'm likely to in sort of the trifecta of closing out on this. I will probably eventually somewhere down the line buy some over the ear wireless.
Yeah,
Um,
they're Bluetooth. So I don't. I have like two sets of Sennheiser wireless
mhm.
headsets, but they when you turn them on, it blasts the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum, and it blasts it a lot. And
Oh,
even
sure.
if you turn up the music a little bit louder, somehow it makes it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, don't buy one of those.
But yeah,
Although they're cheaper now, but the Bluetooth ones just work.
yeah. So
It's
those
wonderful.
are more recent buys. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I heard you also bought a transformer thingy.
Transformer thingy.
Yeah. And
Oh, you're talking about the Switch Pod.
yeah.
This year, I'd already bought a bunch of tripods. I even bought like a new fluid head for one of them, and it looks like a bobblehead. It's got this big, humongous, awesome thing on it with this tiny little thin, twiggy, tripod. But the Peak Design, remember that tripod? And it looks like a really good tripod. And yes, it would have been a better deal to buy that thing well in advance than whatever it's going to cost if you try to buy it today. But I'm not. I don't always impulse so much with these Kickstarters. So, Switch Pod was only like $100, and it looked like something that I would totally use because the problem with my Joby is while everyone says great things about the Jobies, the problem is they don't. The great thing about them is their legs can wrap around stuff. My use cases are so rare for things like that. I'm not wrapping around. And then what ends up happening is the weight of the camera or the weight of something, drags it off the pole or drags it off the thing, and it doesn't stay. It and I have maybe it's my mistake is I have an early, Joby GorillaPod.
Yeah.
Before they became everyone's favorite thing. So the Switch Pod,
I think I have like 3 or 4 of them
yeah, the
somewhere.
Switch Pod is absolutely a very sturdy device, and what it does is sort of swings and folds up into a very thin thing you can, put into your bag. So, a bunch of people just said they're going to kickstart this thing. It's made out of aluminum, and it's real sturdy. But the thing is, it's not. People are comparing it to a GorillaPod. It's not a GorillaPod. If you have a bunch of stairs or something, it's got 3 legs. If it can't sit on something that's stable, then it's not going to be good for your use case. But one of the neat little features about it is because it's collapsed. When you collapse it, you don't leave it sort of opened up, right? You can kind of swing it out real quickly, like people do with like knives, where they, the switchblade, they swing it out, and it's real sturdy, and you can stick it on on a ledge or something like that, and it will stay. It's fine, and it's really high quality. So it was $100 for me to do it in the Kickstarter. I don't know what they're running for today, but I finally got it. And then I saw another YouTuber took, which was a good idea actually, took a couple magnets and sort of glued them to the feet. And so I only did that. I only needed to do it for a couple of them. And so I sort of did that hack. And so now it really locks. So there's no likelihood of this thing opening up on me if I'm like holding only, I can, when I'm closing it.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because it appears that it just flips open.
Well, it doesn't really swing open. It's not loose about it at all. But in his case, he likes to sort of cradle the camera the way he does his thing while he has this thing on it. And so for him, he's like, there'll be cases where he might move swiftly and the thing opens up. So I was like, all right, well, that's an easy hack. So I chose to do that, and it didn't cost me much, and it works great. And if you were to buy one, I would totally apply the hack for you.
I think I can manage that if I were to buy one.
But anyhow, so for at least $100, I don't know what they're going for now.
The $100.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I mean, it's a real sturdy thing, and it might not be your every tripod, but it might be something you use every once in a while. And if you're sort of let's say you're doing a mobile run, you want to do a time lapse, and you want to stick it, on a ledge or on top of a rock or something, and you need something that's sturdy. Those gorillapods are eventually gonna fall over, right? They're not sturdy. They don't. You can get them to sit weirdly and steady out on I mean, I was even watching Marquez do a live thing on Instagram. He was opening up his new Red camera, and he had stuck his iPhone on a gorillapod. And what did it do? He kept adjusting and keeping it from falling over. And this is the exact complaint I've always had with the gorillapods. That's what they do. So in the antithesis, I can't even talk. Basically, in opposition to that, these guys came up with the SwitchPod.
Yeah.
It's very sturdy.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the same features as the gorillapod does, right?
Well, yeah, of course not, because it's actually, static legs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're but what it does is when you collapse it, it's like a grip. So if you're doing vlogging, or let's say if you are, it's not a gimbal, but if you can kind of steady yourself and you're walking and you're doing sort of, motion run or whatever it is, it's very good for something like that.
You know what they should do is like make a version that extends down, so you can make it higher.
Oh, like an actual, tripod with.
No. Like for now, if you look at the thing, it has like, there's lots of space in that device, right? So if you could make a thing that goes in there, so you could extend the legs a little bit, so it can go up a little bit higher.
Oh,
like
the
the same mechanism, not the same mechanism, but the
like
same. You could slide out like the legs a little bit further.
Clips. Yeah. Maybe.
Or make him fold even better.
I mean, look, this is their first product, and is made by a bunch of other photographers. So
soon they'll release a SwitchPod Pro,
the Pro Plus,
Plus X 15500, beta.
Yeah. Well, what they could probably do is they could charge $5,000 for it and make a stand for an Apple monitor.
When you first mentioned the SwitchPod, I thought it was like a case for the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, no, this would not make a good case for the Nintendo Switch.
Maybe you can mount it on top of it, though.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's for cameras. It's not for portable consoles.
So, speaking about gadgets.
Polymatic.link/RE. We didn't give a link for that.
Okay, yeah. Speaking about gadgets, the gifting is fastly approaching. You want to talk a little bit about, people buying gifts or planning their wish lists ahead of time?
They don't. So here's the thing. There's like maybe a dozen people I see around New Year's. So somehow we exchange, and it's not that I'm not appreciative. It's just that I see these individuals so few times of the year, so I really don't know what's going on in their life, and I am absent from something like Facebook, and even then you couldn't even keep up with, like, what people share is not what's really going on in life most of the time. So at least among these friends. So the gifting is such a dilemma for me every year. I got to figure out what the hell I'm getting people.
Should
And
we explain what the gifting means?
it's just this sort of onslaught of exactly as I'm explaining, where you are just stuck having to gift exchange with people, and you don't know what to get them. And in my case, it's to the multiple of at least 10 people. and uh and what ends up happening is you don't know what to get them. And then if they say they have an Amazon wish list and they make a mention, they only do it like when it's too late, when it's too last second to buy those gifts. And
After
for me,
Black Friday, for example.
right, yeah. And for me, I rather just get that crap in advance. Get the thing that is a gift that's more meaningful or has some usefulness. Yeah. I don't need another shirt with a microphone on it because they know I do podcasting. Like, I don't need another it's just, this is the kind of
were you going to say a mug with a coffee
no, actually I drink out of those things all the time. Those are the mugs I use. What are you talking about, man? You did fine. And actually, every time someone, my favorite to stare at, but I don't use, I use the one with the caffeine molecule on it the most. The one with "This is gourmet shit" mug, that one's pretty good too. But I don't need any more mugs. I got plenty of mugs. Yeah, so I mean, you just sort of, when you see people, you get these sort of junk gifts. But even from the perspective, aside from a person who receives that stuff, it's the other side of it, which is, I want the gift that I give to be meaningful or useful, and not a thing that goes in someone else's piles of junk of regifts or in the trash.
Yeah.
And I used to more actively would go and get people like shirts. Not saying I'm trying to put clothes on people as much as I know that would be something they might be comfortable to wear that represents something about them or a point of view about them. And I get the sense that I do really well with that because I see my friends wearing those shirts. But I got out of the habit of making that my default impulse, because I get a shirt or hoodie or something, and then try to struggle to find that real gift. And so now I'm just struggling to find that real gift. And so the gifting for me isn't like I'm trading with my stepbrother and my father and my mother and my stepmother. It's not like I got 4 or 5 people that I see several times a year and I have a sense of, what the gift is. It's with friends I see at New Year's who have no sense of what the gift should be.
Yeah.
Because if it's like they were all about Xbox, well, I have some friends who are like, nah, I got rid of my Xbox and I got a new PlayStation. I got rid of the PlayStation and I got a Switch. Like, I have people that are neurotic in that space. And so you can't rely on the last little bit of intel you had from 8 months ago.
Yeah, from last Christmas.
Yeah, or when I saw them at AMV screening or something. So, and sometimes gifts cost a good gift. I'm not talking about buying people, iPads. But, a good gift costs money.
Right? Yeah,
it
depends on how much you spend on it, right?
Yeah. And so one friend of mine, his birthday's on the 1st. So when we see him, he gets sort of the double gift. I mean, there are times where I've gone overboard for him.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one year, I don't think it was last year, it might have been the year before. I got him, it was because of the movies, that there was this little, like, I don't know how big it was. It might have been easily 1.5 foot tall Chewy.
Okay.
Just big Chewy, and he loves Star Wars anyways. And so, and I think if you squeeze it, it makes the Chewy, noise, roar. And so that was, I saw it, and it, cost like $80 or something, but I put it into his double triple gift or something like that. And so then I handed that to him, and he loved it. So, but that isn't the point. The point is that, like, I think I spent maybe just for that, all his gifts plus that, I probably spent like $200, $300 on the guy.
Yeah.
So I got an impulse not to do that for people.
Yeah.
Because the better gift always costs like $50, $60. Oh, well, $80. I mean, might as well get the $100 version. Like, and when you do that times 10, it really adds up. So I don't want to do that this year. And I just it's the gifting.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. I'd just rather have, and I don't know about you, but if you were in that situation, like, I would just rather have all of us say, okay,
this is the limit.
Well, no, like, so for example, saying, okay, we're all doing a gift exchange. Okay. And then everyone basically colludes with John's gift together and gives him one good gift, right? And if that means putting $10 in, yeah, okay, that's $100 or $20 in. That's a really good gift. You can get a really good gift, one really good gift from everyone. But no, everyone's got to put their personal ego into it. And it's just like, why not do that? Why don't you get the like really good one gift? And everyone just sort of gift exchanges that way. And I get it. Sometimes the gifting is like, well, look, I really know you as a person, and my gift represents I really know what I think I know about you. And most of the time that just fails. So I wish there was just a system where we colluded together and bought one single good gift for each of us. And then that would simplify everything, because everyone's got a little bit of different intel about an individual. And even at like $10 putting into the, into the kitty, it works out really well, I would think. Better,
Yep.
Sorry.
You went on a rant here a little bit.
It's a rant, but this is the part of the year I hate. So
I actually kind of like giving gifts, like,
I do
for
too.
Christmas, for air quotes holidays. I usually do for work. I do a little thing. I do something for friends, and I do something for family.
Mm-hmm.
For family this year, my brother already has his gift because I bought him a Switch. He was having a little bit of a tough time with the dentist, so I was like, yeah, okay, here you go. You have a Switch. You're not getting a gift for Christmas or for your birthday. Have fun. And really loves the Switch, by the way.
It's a good gift.
Yeah.
It's just
an
an expensive one.
It's a very expensive one, yes.
Yeah.
Especially since and here's some controllers, and here's some games, and here's some other stuff, and there's some more games. And I already sold my old Switch. If I wouldn't have sold that one, I could have given it to him.
Mm-hmm.
But hey. Anyway, and then for Christmas, I'm giving away to the colleagues some. I'm thinking of doing like the Arduino thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like right, 3 of those.
We were talking about it earlier.
And I'm thinking of getting some silver coins, like real silver coins. With a maple leaf. Somebody's going to Canada right now. I think he's in Canada next week. I don't know. Or he was in Canada recently. Get some of those with the maple leaves on them, and get some other ones for different people. And then just 3D printing a case for it. And then making a case to hold the coin in. So that's the idea for the rest. Or maybe go on Etsy and buy some stuff, because Etsy is a wonderful place to buy stuff.
I've looked there too, as trying to figure out like what kind of gift I get. I sort of mark and plan some stuff. I have some stuff on like Amazon that I've bookmarked for certain people. And so here's the problem. I got to make sure that I buy that stuff before Cyber Monday or even the weekend or before Thanksgiving, because if I don't, I won't get it. They're going to run out of stock very fast. So if I have a good idea about a gift for somebody well in advance, which, I should have.
When is Thanksgiving?
Late in the month, actually. End of November.
Is next week or the week after?
The week after, 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's my brain is saying the 28th, but I don't know if that's the exact date without looking at a calendar.
It's on a Thursday, right?
It should be on a Thursday. Yeah, it is the 28th.
25th on Sunday?
So the 28th is when Thanksgiving is. So that Friday, that basically through the weekend, and then Amazon is probably going to, as you were just suggesting, probably the 25th or the week of top of the week, they're probably going to start, flooding deals into the system to get, pre-sales. They might even do it as early as next weekend. So I don't know. For some people, you can go pick something off their Amazon wish list. My friends, though, often don't buy any, usually most of the time they struggle with to get me or whatever, and so I put some easy things on that list. If I was putting some what I really would want, because
you should make a Alan's really what I really want list.
It's
Spice Girl list.
Oh yeah, it's either I'm buying it for myself, or other people are buying it for me. It really doesn't. The only difference is it costs me less to do it the other way. But I don't put things on there that are $100+ or anything on that. I don't, because I know no one will ever pull the trigger. I have one friend where I give him he's a value price matcher, meaning he has a sense of idea how much I'm going to spend on him, and so he spends equivalently on me. But the rest of my friends aren't like that. It doesn't matter if I rolled up and I gave them a Model 3 Tesla. They'd be like, oh, here's a box set of this thing I thought you might like.
It's the thought that counts, right?
Oh, yeah, no, I got that. I'm just saying is the thought is whatever it is they decide that fits in whatever budget they want to spend on somebody.
Price matching is a losing game. You're only going to...
I'm not mentioning because that's what's in my brain. I think I spend probably on a higher average more than I should on individuals, but it's not about always the cost as it is being sort of maybe a good gift, a right gift, one that isn't going to be the thing you throw in the drawer and forget about.
Yep.
So anyhow, enough rant on that.
Yeah.
Some people are easy to figure out what I'm going to buy, but then there are the people that, the other 6 people of the 10 or 12, whatever, that I struggle with trying to snoop that intel to see what I can figure out what they might want. So.
Okay. Well, what about your film project? How's that going?
It's going. The laptop I did an upgrade, hard drive upgrade, right? On my laptop. So I have 2 terabytes. I was eating up basically the first terabyte. And, after formatting, you don't really have as much space as you think. So I have maybe at most a liquid 900 gigs on that sort of second extended drive. So that works fine, and it's a high speed. But the problem is I have to move content onto it so that I can do these interviews. And one of these interviews that I've been hesitating on, her footage alone is easily half a terabyte. Now it's on the drive, and I'm going to edit it today.
Joy.
But it requires me moving files from here to there and making sure I have extra backups. So I now have 3 external drives. 3, 4. I have one that has all the footage untouched, just has all the footage not organized into folders or anything, and then the other 3 drives are a copy of the edits plus the footage and everything organized. And so it's just been mostly me moving around files after work and not being able to use my laptop while it's consuming up all bandwidth and making it sufferable. And then getting in my weekend and sitting down for a couple hours and editing through and doing the assemblies and documenting what the discussion was in the interviews. So that's it. That's what I've been doing. And I'm finally almost done that first major day. And then I have a whole second day. But we figured something out on our recording of the footage. We switched our codec. So it's a little less raw, but still good quality, and the file sizes are I can
more
copy
manageable,
way more manageable, and that this first day has been suffering of a process, and I tried for the life of me to sort it out, and I finally had enough weekends where I was spending time on it to accept the sort of the management of how I have to work it. Now that I've accepted
can't you just convert all the video that you have to the new format?
I started to do that too. So one of the features inside Adobe is you can merge clips and you can have it auto sync. So and DaVinci can do this too. It doesn't do it as well as slick as you get with Premiere. The problem was that on Anthony's camera, he has on his Blackmagic, Pocket Cinema 4K, he has XLR in, and he was closest to my F4. So what we did is we set up the route, and it outputted, and he got basically a tap off of it directly into his camera. So his camera was really recording what was coming off, the recorder, and mine wasn't doing that. I had my environmental mic, and so the camera was just recording off that, and so it doesn't match up with the sync points on the we were basically doing the slap, and so it's been challenging so I have to kind of manually audio sync it. Once I get it, it's good. But I was pissed off. I thought maybe it was too big, too hard to process. No. So in hindsight, I now know the next time I'm in that situation what I'm going to do, because that monitor has a mic in. And that particular monitor was also the recorder as well as what's on the camera. So what I will do is I will use that input, and I'll probably hover a wireless mic up or above or near the individuals so that I can get a more natural sync point through the automation of the tools, because it's far more precision than Alan sitting there eyeing it and going down to frame level. It works out just fine, but it took a while. It's sort of a pain in the butt to sort that stuff out. So anyhow, it's just a lot of the technical things of it, and I could have done better, and I didn't do better because I didn't know. And now that I know, I'll do better.
So you want to move on to the fun stuff so we can wrap up this thing so you can get back to editing. I can go back to editing.
Moving terabytes about.
Playing Minecraft.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm doing.
I'm going to turn that on after we stop recording. Okay, so fun stuff. So Amazon Prime took over The Expanse, which is wonderful, but they had some idiot make a recap of the first episode of the pilot.
Okay.
And it's very bad. It's very, 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 very bad. Polymatic link /R5. Prepare to be horrified.
I'll try to go at it again, but I couldn't view that video.
Hey nerds, I want to murder you. It was so bad. I hope they got fired.
Yeah. But it's coming. New season's coming.
Yep. Next month. I got I'm inviting some people. They're coming over for a viewing party for the first 2 episodes, I think, maybe more. It depends on how many chicken wings I can gather. Just load my entire fridge full of chicken wings.
Yeah. Okay.
Polymatic link /R5 for that.
Yep. So there's a set of YouTubers that are also like pseudo photographers or whatever filmmakers that I follow. And so there's this couple, Becky and Chris, and they're from Newfoundland. I don't even know how you say it. I never say it. I just hear it. Anyhow, so they did this series where Chris is a doctor by trade, but one of the things that he was interested in learning was how to fly a helicopter. And he put in his hours and, he can pilot a helicopter. And eventually he got to a point where he could afford a helicopter. And that is also part of how I got to know them, because I saw some of those original videos. And it's really curious because sometimes they do a little trip. It's not a helicopter channel. So Becky and Chris, they went back to their homeland and they chose to fly there through their own helicopter. And it was a trip. And it's called Cold Island, and it's in 4 parts. So Polymatic.link /RB. If you like cinematography and you like sort of a different kind of vlogging style, this is really interesting. It's more like a film, if anything. And they're not using like Red cameras. They're using like Sony A6400 or 7, the Mark, whatever it is, this A7S Mark whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I also enjoyed their channel, but I don't know. Did you look at this at all?
I looked at the beginning because I didn't have enough time to watch the whole thing because it's long. It's like an hour.
Right. It's basically in 4 parts because this is just it was multiple. You would see these like one a week kind of thing. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's really pretty. The other thing is what Chris did is all of the drone footage you see is he got interested in building his own. So he bought the kits and he built his own drone. So he has his own high-speed drone. So when you see that drone footage, it's from the drone that he built.
Okay. And
it looks really good, right? And so he flies his own drone around, and yeah, that's it. So I don't know. I think they're an interesting couple in general.
Polymatic.link /RB for that. Then there's a punny thing. Christian Bale, Polymatic.link /R6. I'm not going to tell you anything about it.
I already watched it. Yeah, I saw it.
It was funny, though.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I got something. John, you won't like it because it's made by Microsoft, but I thought it was pretty interesting. This is
very pretentious.
This is sort of a top of the playlist. They already sort of implemented some of this stuff, but they have this. I think they're calling this series called alt thinking, whatever it is. It's like a marketing thing, but it's got some interesting things in it. And having seen some of these things in advance, I know these things are legit. It isn't just like marketing fluff. Polymatic.link /RC. In this case, this is like breaking free of data center legacy thinking. And so this one is like, I don't know if it's a starting video, but it's one of the earlier ones in like a playlist. Yeah.
Okay.
Like storing archives on glass, crystal, stuff like that. It's interesting. Mm-hmm. They're at least looking at technologies from the point of view that isn't just meant for pure profit, but for
I think it would have been R&D. Better if it wasn't just so much marketing fluff.
Right. Sure.
If they actually got some of the engineers who can be sometimes very enthusiastic about their stuff. Like it would have been nice if they got somebody like from Tested or something like that. If they got them to go to the labs, or maybe not Linus because he might break it, but so something like that, right? So send them there and to talk about it. It's like, for example, that video of Linus when he went to with the guy from Dustin from Smart
Destin,
Everyday.
yeah.
They went to the rocket thing. It's like he was talking about the memory modules and stuff. That's
the bits,
like
real bits.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
If they do this with that would be great.
The problem
much more
is,
interesting.
The problem is those videos aren't so much meant for you and I as they're meant for less techie people.
They're meant for managers.
They're meant for managers and executives.
Mm-hmm.
But, for example, Project Nantucket or Nantic. I say Nantucket. Nantic is an example. I think I shared a video for that easily a good year ago. And that's part of that data center thinking, finding other ways, other places. That makes sense.
Anyway, so Fran Blanche is the tech person in Philadelphia. She makes I think that she makes amps or something. She builds like bespoke electronics. She recently had to move from her old space into a new space because they were basically pushing everybody out of that space. There's a video about radium dials. They used to put phosphorus radium in it, and then so that would keep glowing.
Right,
and
the paint would glow,
and radiate yourself.
It's interesting because I'm looking at that stuff and go, oh yeah, I know what this is, and I know what this is because my father, as a kid, was really into electronics, and so he went beyond. He was doing some electronical engineering and stuff when he was a teenager, even that, like maybe even a preteen, and so I think he's gotten rid of most of the stuff now. But as a kid, in his shop, basically he had these big metal bins full of switches and stuff that he used. And he had like original Cherry switches, from the 50s and the 40s. And he had some, switches and/or dials or whatever it is that had glow-in-the-dark paint on it. And I remember him telling me about, oh yeah, they don't make that anymore because that stuff's radioactive. And so she was going through this whole conversation about radium, and I go, "Oh yeah.
Yeah, she has another video about actual still functioning stuff, like on an alarm clock or something like that.
Yeah, they used to put this stuff, the radium glow in the dark paint on things
right next to your face.
Yeah, because they didn't think, they didn't know, they didn't care. It was more about regulations, right? They just didn't care.
Anyway. It's a pretty interesting gadget thingy. Polymatic.media/R7 for that.
Okay. Sort of tying up conversational things that's meant for nerds. This is...
Don't you start.
First, Polymatic.link/RD. This is basically, the title's in the case of an apocalypse, open this Arctic cold vault. So this is a Bloomberg thing. Ashley Vance does some stuff called Hello World with Bloomberg. I don't have cable. I don't have the channel, so I don't really know what these things look like. I only know what the clips look like. But he went with Nat Freeman? Is that what it is? Freeman, who is basically the guy who started GitHub. And I don't know. I think you should watch it. But basically, they take some source code and they put it into a vault in the Arctic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting to see how the world was to blow up with that lonely vault still survive, probably, yeah, most likely, and so would the source code that's inside it. But I thought it was really interesting. It's only like a few minutes long. Did you watch this?
They're having a melt problems there, so how well this will be stored. Still up for debate.
Well, this is also
they should just put it onto glass. Put it there.
This is also way knee deep into the ground. Like, it isn't just on surface inside. It's like inside the mountain where they used to dig out coal and stuff like that. So it's, they go way, 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 way super deep. into the infrastructure of the earth.
Yeah. Okay. Some music. Modernist Jure. Have you watched this, by the way?
I did.
Yeah.
8-bit.
Yeah, the video is not that great. I mean, there's some other videos from other people who just basically took just the music. I think the music is great. I don't care as much about the video because I think it's just they had somebody else do it for them. Mm-hmm. Polymatic.media/R8. It's a couple. They make music together. They haven't made music recently, but it's I like their stuff. So check them out.
Okay, so I got two here. So Tesla Violet is an artist that I generally follow. I've been following her as a YouTuber for I don't know, it's almost as far back as when she started. She used to do vlogging, whatever it is. So, in current day, she got into music and she's pretty good. And her original stuff is still pretty good. But it's like a night and day difference than the kind of stuff that she's doing today. And she's been sort of promoting this new album called Bad Ideas. So this will point you over to Spotify, Polymatic.link/R9. It's a good listen. I really like it. I've gotten little bits of the singles here and there, but I will find my brain sort of putting on loop a song here and there. So I really enjoyed it. I don't know. This might or may not be something you might be into, John. It's it's still pop, but it's got sort of an electronic edge, but it's not like funky, electronic.
I tried and I saw it was a Spotify link. I did click on the second one, but I realized it was Spotify link, and I don't want it to mess up my Spotify Discover Weekly.
Oh, yeah.
If something like this is played, it suddenly appears in my Spotify list every freaking week for weeks.
Yeah, I got you. I don't
want to contaminate it.
I don't get to live like streaming Spotify when I'm at work. I'm really basically offline with what's on my phone. I'm Bored is a song that is stuck in my head. You might like the games. Games is you might like. But it's not like pure electronica. I know that you have a sense of you like a little bit more like ambient and pure electronica. And this isn't that. This is, pop music with some combination of. All right, so that was Polymatic.link/R9. I generally recommend it. And then last, this also goes over to Spotify. She is you would probably more likely find her music in a club, but this was sort of a general discovery for me this year. This artist, British artist called Charlie, without an E. Charlie XCX, and she had a self-titled new album called Charlie, and there's some pretty good tracks in there. There's at least one track, Shake It. I hate that song. I just can't stand it. It's annoying. But I also bought her last album, and I didn't like it as much. Polymatic.link/RA, and Official is a really good song by Charlie. I don't know. There's a bunch of them. They should have been in my playlist, and they've been sort of haunting me positively.
Okay, Alan, where can they find you?
If you have to, you can find me on Twitter by my last name, CHAESS.
You can also find me on Twitter at Webdevy, WEBDEFFIE. For feedback, you reach us at podcast@Polymatic.media. I actually really read that mailbox once in a while. Music is by Seuns, which you can find at polymatic.link/EK. Our Twitter is @ThePolymatic. Our website is Polymatic.media, and I hope you tune in next time.